Josh Tomorrow, Disney's new CEO. Barry, I think this is something that everybody saw coming.
Yeah. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked.
Even the most recent discussion of the rumors of them voting him as CEO. I mean, I can go back probably months. I would say maybe even years of him being CEO, of discussion of him being CEO, as far as I can remember. We got the official announcement today. They voted, they did all the legal stuff, and Josh D'Amaro has been named Disney's next CEO. He will take the helm on March 18th, 2026, obviously replacing Iger as the CEO. I think this was, I take it back. A lot of people talked about this. Alongside this, Dana Walden, she is going to be a new role as President and Chief Creative Officer of the Walt Disney Company. So I think, Barry, you were talking about this too. I think our friend Dirk, he was talking about this. And I think this was bigger news than just the announcement of him becoming CEO.
Well, she is the first female president of Disney. People seem to forget, we always talk about Eisner, but Eisner was the CEO, Frank Wells was the president, and that is probably what, we really consider the era that brought Disney back. I think Disney has become too big to have just some CEO who oversees everything. You need a president, you need in this case, a president and a chief creative officer to oversee that side of the business. Josh, who was a parks guy, is now, he is the first CEO who is a parks guy, whether you like what he's done or not. And we'll get into that, of where some of what is the way the parks are right now started with Chapek.
Well, going off kind of what you're, you mentioned Chapek.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that he was, and I think that was what you were saying about Disney becoming too big, becoming this giant entertainment conglomerate. With Chapek, he really wasn't a parks guy. He was kind of a business guy.
He had been promoted to parks, but he was not a parks guy.
Yeah.
If you really want to look at some of the flaws of Galaxy's Edge, the Epcot redo, those were all under Chapek. People always talk about Lightning Lane, and we've seen some people talk today about paid Lightning Lane and all that, and the end of Fast Pass as we know it. Those were inevitable. That for lack of a better term, that genie was going to come out of the bottle at some point.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before they figured they could make money off of Fast Pass. That's.
I think we've got to look right now at what the investments are in the parks. There are still things that are left over from COVID that a lot of people don't like. The reservation system, really even more so at Disneyland than say over here in Walt Disney World. All the cuts in entertainment, that some of it has come back, but not all of it. He is someone who's very detail oriented. Everyone who knows him well enough knows that when he goes to the parks, when he is looking for things, if he sees lights out or things not
like
look
any
right,
imperfections or anything,
he's going to point it out. He's also someone who spends a lot of time in the parks, which a lot of the parks, even parks and experience presidents wouldn't spend a lot of time in the parks. And
everybody was posting their selfies with D'Amaro today on social media, and it was really funny. I forgot who said it, but somebody was like, "You didn't see this when Chapek was announced as the new CEO."
Well, you didn't see you barely saw Chapek in the parks when he was in charge of the parks. And Josh is also someone who is, from all everything we've ever seen, is well liked by the cast members.
Yeah,
and that is a big thing.
I saw a lot of saw a lot of cast members commenting that they were pretty excited about D'Amaro becoming CEO, just from that perspective.
And it's also a sign that, yes, Disney is an entertainment company. The parks are one of the biggest money-making parts of that company, and that cannot be ignored anymore.
Yeah.
In this day and age where, ESPN doesn't make the money it used to. It used to be the entertainment side made a lot more money. Parks and Experiences now is a huge the major driver of the Disney company, which, in some ways it always has been, but it's always sort of took a backseat to the entertainment side.
Well, going off of that, they announced that whole $60 billion turbocharged plan for the parks. Do you think now, I'm pretty sure that the answer is yes, but do you think that money is going to go elsewhere now with tomorrow being in charge, or we're still going to see that $60 billion dropped into the parks?
I think we're still going to see it. I mean, you got to remember it's parks, cruise ships,
the whole
But
umbrella.
you got. I think one of the big examples. You got to look at how fast for Disney they're moving on tropical Americas right now in Disney's Animal Kingdom.
I was there Sunday
land
night.
is supposed to open next year.
I was there Sunday night. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's rocking and rolling.
You look at how fast they're moving, and albeit it is a bigger lift. A lot of tropical Americas will be basically stripping stuff down and reskinning it, which will obviously help with some of the speed. But you look at Villains Landing and Cars and Piston Peak and all that. Look how fast that is moving. Like
Disney Cruise Line, they're going to be ramping up to what, 13 ships in Disney on the cruise line side of things.
Yeah.
So
that to me is maybe the biggest risk they're taking right now.
The 13 ships on Disney Cruise Line.
Because, we've already seen where, Disney, when they've gone to Australia or New Zealand, or even the times that usually it's been the smaller cruise ships that gone out of Galveston. Those Disney cruises are a lot less expensive than the ones here usually in Florida. So I mean, the question will be, obviously the plan is obviously to have ships that'll be in Europe, be in different parts of the world year round. The Disney Adventure is a huge risk. It blew through the budget.
Yeah.
And if you look at those cruises are some of the least expensive Disney cruises you can go on. I mean, one of the reasons is you're basically paying to go on the ship. The cruise does not go anywhere except just, out in the water. I mean, I think, there's a lot of things going on right now. And there's a lot of things that even for Walt Disney World, we know that have been sort of on the back burner, haven't been announced as far as all this money that they're spending and everything. I mean, you basically have two parks right now, Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, that have got these huge construction projects going on. I think this is, like a lot of people have said, this is just the beginning. They really are trying to, I think, make up for not spending money in Disney World for so long. On top of the projects going on in Disneyland right now too. So,
and then as far as Iger goes, like I said, tomorrow will become CEO on March 18th, 2026. Iger is going to stay on as a senior advisor through the end of 2026. I'm guessing they're doing this is to kind of smooth the transition, because if I remember correctly, when Chapek took over, when Iger was leaving, that was a very sudden, cut and dry transition. So,
and as far as Dana Walden, I mean, she will be handling a lot of the entertainment creative side, which is Josh is not as well versed in. She is also, I feel like, there as a 2 years in, if Josh ain't cutting it,
yeah.
The board might move on to her. So it'll be interesting to see how their dynamic happens, whether they do really, are they good at collaborating with each other. It'll be interesting who is the new president of Disney Parks and Experiences.
Because we have the whole Fortnite thing too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's all about that Fortnite augmented reality thing that they announced. So
I'm going to be interested to see what he does about the AI stuff. Iger pushed it again on the earnings calls, and it sort of caused their stock to dip a little. Who knows if that's a setup to give the new CEO a quick win of being like, you know what, after we looked into this, maybe we're going to pull back from this. I think the biggest thing, and like we've talked about before, is like that whole AI deal too, is to at the time so they have some control while everything plays out. I think that has more to do with than anything else than having people create content with Disney licensed characters. I think this is more about them controlling their IP in the long run.
Yeah.
Than them really investing in AI. the direction everything seems to be going right now, where majority of people don't want it, don't want what people are pushing, and they're not making any money.
Yeah, AI is very it's a very touchy thing. So I'll be curious what tomorrow does with the whole AI thing. I don't see AI completely going away anytime soon. But I do see maybe him approaching it a little bit differently than Iger did. All right, let's wrap this video up with a fun question that I have for you, Barry. Okay. You're Josh. First day of CEO. You have a magic wand and you can bring back one extinct attraction. What are you bringing back?
That's a hard one. I mean, I should say that for me, but it's not. It's Journey into Imagination. I mean, that finally green lighting the update that brings it back to something that is similar or with new technology.
Yeah.
You know, it's as you and I have discussed, it's one of probably the biggest, saddest mistakes Disney World has ever made was ending that ride when they would literally have a classic attraction that only thing it needed was to have its technology updated, which we have a history of that here at Disney World, of them deciding they're not going to update technology on something. And then, you know, look how long it's taken them for the update technology on Haunted Mansion over the years. So
I know. Let's not even talk about Frozen with the projection faces.
Yeah, which is finally happening. So
yeah,
kudos to that, because I'm assuming he signed off on that too. So it's like that's something that was way past due.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're getting authentic
real
face
animatronics.
So as far as me, oh gosh, if it wasn't a ride and a show, I'd bring back Illuminations.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the only one that came to my mind was Great Movie Ride is up there. I think Great Movie Ride was a big loss. I would definitely, it's up there.
If that park had an updated Great Movie Ride plus Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that I think that's, you know, all these updates and stuff. Hollywood Studios still needs a ton of work. And I mean, it's getting some. It's getting some, but even that's a placeholder for the time being.
Well, we got a new CEO coming in, so we'll see what Josh does. And you know, I'm excited to see what he does with the company. And with what's her name by his side too, Dana.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, it can only get better. They're interesting, and I'll wrap it up with they're entering an interesting time because, you know, we've already seen them offer a lot of discounts for Walt Disney World. So, you know, tourism around here is going to be very interesting with the current political climate and things. And us really not really knowing until this summer, you know, because of Epic Universe, how is tourism really actually doing in Orlando right now?
Anyways, guys, that's it. We just wanted to do a quick video here talking about Josh D'Amaro being announced as the new Disney CEO. We do have the article up on ThrillGeek.com if you guys want to check that out. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, as always, give us that YouTube love. Leave a comment below. Let us know, what are you excited about tomorrow? Are you not excited? Let us know below. And as always, take care, be safe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
See you later.